animals have parasites. However, in a healthy wild ecosystem, animals have evolved their immune responses, but parasite loads can multiply and cause diseases in these animals. So, how do we get parasites from animals? Well, there's two kinds. There's endoparasites, which are internally, and that is from eating your raw meat or your undercooked meat. And then there's ectoparasites, which is from your mosquitoes, your ticks, your fleas, and mites. Now, there's different ways of transmission. So the first way of transmission is direct contact, and that is basically from touching a contaminated surface or contaminated feces and accidentally ingesting that. And then there's the foodborne transmission, and that is from ingesting your meats that are not cooked properly, eating them raw, not at the right temperature. And then there is vector-borne. Now, vector-borne is transmitted by blood-eating insects like, your mosquitoes and your ticks. So how do we get parasites? Stay tuned. I'm going to show you my answers. So how do we get parasites from eating beef? Well, the cattle, if it eats infected feed or vegetation that has the tapeworm eggs on it, those eggs will go into the beef's intestines. From there, those eggs migrate into the muscle tissue of the cattle. And while it's in the muscle tissue, it forms a cyst. Now, if we eat that cattle that's infected and we did not cook our meat properly and at the right temperature, or we eat it raw, which some people do, what happens is that cyst goes into our intestines. And believe it or not, it can survive human stomach acid. So while it's surviving the human stomach acid, it then migrates around, and the cyst actually opens and the larva comes out. The larva attaches and grows and turns into a tapeworm into your intestines. So let's talk about trichinosis and eating raw or undercooked pork. You can get roundworms from eating it undercooked or raw if this pig has been infected. Now, tapeworms can grow in your intestines for up to 30 years, and they can grow up to 30 feet, and that is just by eating raw or undercooked pork that's been infected with this parasite. You can also get parasites from wild-caught fish. Actually, wild-caught fish and waterfowl have a lot of parasites. Wise to make sure you're cooking them properly, don't eat anything raw, and make sure they're at the right temperature. So with deer,
venison does pose a lot of health and safety concerns. However, I know the butchers have to take precaution and run tests, so I'm sure the risk is minimal. But I had to just at least talk about this because deer can get mites and ticks, eat a lot of vegetation, just like the cattle. So, therefore, if they're eating some sort of vegetation, tapeworm, eggs on them, they can certainly ingest that, and then they're going to have those parasites as well.
Hey, what's happening?
Okay, let's move on to cats. Now, I know we don't eat cats, but you can get a parasite from your cute little kitty. And you can get the parasite because of changing its litter. If your cat has not been dewormed properly, goes possibly in and out of the house, your cute little kitty can get parasites, and you can get the parasites as well from infected cat litter. Okay, so now let's go to hookworms. Oh, oh boy. So hookworms, I like to go barefoot. Pretty much that's just I like to be connected and grounded to the earth. However, hookworms are actually microscopic larvae that is found in your soil, and it's left over from an infected animal from their feces. If you have an open wound on your feet and you go barefoot, or maybe you like doing cartwheels in the yard and you have an open wound on your hand, if you do and you are in infected soil, you can get hookworms because the hookworm larva actually burrows itself into your open wounds, migrates to your intestines. So let's talk about pinworms. Now I've included a picture of the pinworms and they are icky. So pinworms are very prevalent in children, and basically they get them from touching contaminated surfaces and then accidentally ingesting those eggs or the larvae. So let's move on to red foxes and raccoons. Now, if you live in the woods and you have a lot of wildlife like I do, and they are coming in your yard, red foxes can carry up to 20 to 30 different kind of parasites. So, what do you do if you suspect an infection from parasites? Well, you would definitely want to call your general practitioner or your medical advisor. Let them know your symptoms. Now, just by looking at the list of symptoms that I included in this video does not mean that you have parasites. This is just for informational purposes only and entertainment purposes.
Thank you all so much for subscribing to my channel. I certainly appreciate all of you. But more importantly, thank you for watching my video about parasites. I'm not an expert, but just wanted to bring this video to light. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.